Okay, we're gonna try something. We're hoping that it's not too windy out here. This is Sisterwives episode 14, season 14. Oh my gosh. Baby steps. And it is, I think, on a scale of 1 to infuriating.
Shoot me now.
It is.
Shoot me now.
This has been a pretty intense season, and this is a pretty intense episode. I guess we're gonna have a 15 episode season. I'm guessing they're gonna have a tell-all. I don't know how they couldn't. So we start out by...
They got nothing to say. They're boring.
Well, so we start off with Maddie. So we'll just get that out of the way. Which is... And by the way, remember to like and subscribe. Sorry, I just get out of the way. Maddie's not in labor, but she is kind of in labor. The birthing center is 2 hours away, which seems really far. Our hospital was an hour and a half away, but everything was like an hour and 10 minutes away, so it wasn't like we drove past a lot of other options. But I don't know their circumstances. It just makes me so nervous. And of course, I've heard through the comments that it was not a particularly normal birth, in the sense of like a nice, what you want with a medical procedure is boring. You want a boring medical procedure. Everything was standard. From what I hear, that was not the case, and so it makes me extra nervous. So then there's this whole big thing about how Isabel might consider moving to the East Coast. And then Cody goes in this is like the least surprising thing, but it's so unhealthy. And what bothers me is that the wives kind of say something, but not a lot, which is, he's like, our family culture is suffering. We can't let these kids move away. And it's like, that is a terrible...
Okay, freak.
You can't do that. You know, it seems like he has a reasonable relationship with his children. You can see, John, you see. Speaking of children.
It sounds like he aspires to be a cult leader.
Well, yeah, I mean, in completely... Oh, I should have already said this a million times, news. Yeah, but I mean, it's just, like, I want to, how come we haven't seen Logan in forever? And we don't see Hudson or Garrison, but they're, Hunter or Garrison, but they're in the military, so my assumption is that they just...
It's classified.
That's part of the deal with the military. You just don't get to go home. But we haven't seen Logan in just seasons and seasons. Hey, sweetheart. Better door than a window. Oh, he can see himself in the video. It's all downhill from here.
Hi.
Okay, hi, baby. Do you want to come sit her up? So anyway, they do you want to play with that? So anyway, he goes on and on about how, oh, the kids can't move, blah, blah, blah. You know, but none of his adult children live nearby, and it bothers me.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't. But they all seem to really love him, and he's not my father. So, you know, anyway, so there's that whole thing. The kids moving will ruin our family, is the quote that I wrote down. And they just kind of roll their eyes at this. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I get maybe they don't want to talk about it while they're filming, but it really bothers me that the wives, I mean, this is the father of their children, don't stand up for their kids. Anyway, then there's the whole issue. We got to watch a thrilling 15 minutes of him sitting in front of...
the counselor.
No, in front of the moving trucks. They have 4 moving trucks. They kind of need to settle on down. Can you write numbers for him for a little bit? And then he goes on about how he needs 15 pillows. And I'm like, what is going on with this episode? This is so bizarre. It's like, excuse me if I'm a little bit of a pinch. Why do
the diva needs her pillows.
Well, then he's like,
his.
I need a different pillow every night. And I'm like, what? Are we just making up improv? Like, what's the craziest thing? A different pillow every night. The kids can never move away because they're ruining the family. And I'm like, well, you've got some tough road ahead of you. Anyway, they got 4 trucks, which is a lot of trucks.
It's 4 a lot.
4 is a lot. It just was shocking to me. I'm like, you'd think with all this moving, they would have downsized a little bit. And then we talk more about the rentals and the house and the rentals in Sedona. And
it's just too bad they didn't have, 4 houses on the same block.
I know. And I will never quit beating that drum because it was so stupid to leave.
I'm going to say it again. It's time for them to move to Utah.
Okay, so a couple people mentioned this when I said about Utah. A couple people post up in the comments, polygamy is still illegal in Utah. Go Google it.
It's decriminalized.
It's decriminalized. So I would love to see, this is my pitch for season 15. In case anyone cares, would be that he gives up on Flagstaff, he sells his 9 billion homes that he owns, and they move to Utah so he can run for office, so we could see the political ads that are run against him with footage from his own reality show.
That would be entertaining.
Of him and all this. So anyway, they drive all the way back to Vegas, which is a 4-hour drive, 3 hours and 50 minutes according to my iPhone.
Gosh.
So that they can go back to their original therapist, who I've never had strong feelings about her one way or the other, but I think after this episode, I have some, I kind of like her because, well, anyway, we'll get into that. So he goes, Mary, so I know Mary has problems. No one here is saying Mary is perfect.
But she wasn't the one talking nonsense.
She wasn't talking nonsense. She wasn't even talking. In general, this whole season, she has done. What's wrong?
He's fine. He'll live.
Your grandma.
Anyway, let's go. Nobody cares.
He says, "Happy New Year." It's okay. It's okay. So she said she would go every other week if Cody would allow it, but not allow it. If she would be up for it, but he doesn't want to push. This whole season, specifically this season, she has done everything possible to get back in the good graces.
No,
she
come here.
doesn't share her opinion. I know everybody's complaining about the fact that.
What's this?
Everyone is complaining about the fact. Sorry. I'm sorry. Welcome to quarantine life. We're all getting a little.
Annoyed.
Extra troublesome. Anyway. My mother-in-law just reached out the door with a big hunk of cheese and to bribe the baby. Anyway, I'm sorry, we're all over the place. So they go, this whole season, if you look at Mary,
has been awful.
But this whole season she has tried really hard to do what will make the least waves on the boat.
Yeah.
When the whole one house thing was, she didn't.
Tries like it matters.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, like he's going to actually change his opinion.
Doesn't matter.
He doesn't like her. He's said that repeatedly in multiple occasions. And it's anyway. She gets a big house. She looks like she's the only one who makes money, though. Anyway, so he starts off with this whole thing about how he doesn't want to work on his relationship with her until she repairs the other relationships in the family. And it comes out about adult children. The adult children she doesn't have. The adult children are fine, but you're not going to deal with your marriage until your adult children are happy. First of all, just makes me think less of all of the adult children that they watch this footage and don't go, man, Dad is a real douchebag. Like, poor Mary. Like, it really. And secondly, it shouldn't matter. Like, I'm sorry that some of your adult children are unhappy with Mary, but they didn't marry her. In fact, it's incredibly disturbing if they did. Right?
You're gonna live.
You're okay, buddy. What happened to your cheese? Anyway, so then he says that, and he just talks constantly, and none of it's making sense. No, it's all like this double talk. And then he goes about how she has all these great relationships and businesses, but she doesn't have any good relationships in the family. But remember, let's do a little rewind to a few weeks ago when Robin and Mary were hashing things out. And he specifically said, it doesn't bring me any joy when my wives get along. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. And when Robin stuck up for Mary, and tried to explain, he was like, she's terrible, she's awful, you shouldn't try to have a good relationship with her. Like, it's all just double speak for the therapist. And then he says, well, I'm not blaming Mary, but he is. None of us have a good relationship with her, is my quote. Mary says she admits in an interview that every day people ask her why she doesn't leave. And that actually, something I've wondered, because when I do a quick Twitter check, I'm not on it right now, I see literally hundreds of, Mary, why don't you leave? They can get you a show called Merrily Ever After. He doesn't love you. He hates you. You should leave. And I've always kind of wondered if she saw those or not.
You won't be able to.
Okay. Anyway, and he just, sorry, if anyone was thinking of having a toddler, you now know what reality is like. You gonna go help him?
For now.
Okay. So anyway, it just goes on and on and on about how. Sorry, now we have a dog involved in this. Should I just film it, or we'll just keep going? And then he says she needs to heal, but I can't heal with her. She needs to fix her relationship with the adult kids. People ask her all the time why she doesn't leave. And it's literally to the point where he's like, I'm seeing her do with other people what she did with me. And Mary's like, I'm not just, like, she literally, everything he says, she goes, okay, I'll own that. Yeah, I mean, even stuff that I don't necessarily know if it's true, but she's like, I'll do that, yeah. I can be defensive, which is probably true. That's a pretty common thing. Goes on. And then he's like, everyone has a problem with her. And she's like, do you mean the other wives, the kids, strangers? And he doesn't really answer. And you're like, what is going on? And so he's just talking in circles. And I'm like, he just did this so that he could tell everyone, yeah, we're going to therapy. We're working on it. And he had this whole thing set up so that he could blame it on her. Did you have anything to add about that part? Oh, and then he says...
I don't know that he's that smart. I just think he's crying because he's not getting his way.
Yes. I mean, yes. Thank you.
Come on, Mary. Like, what does he have to do to get you to leave him?
And then he says, I'm not up for any criticism. Like, she's like, well, you want to dig into this? And he's like, after a year and a half, I'm not up for any criticism. And she goes, wait, seriously? And he goes, yeah, seriously. And I
You know how to self-improve.
Well, and this is where at some point she says, I'm going to just need 2 minutes to get my head together. My imagination, I do not know her. I don't know anything. I'm not a therapist. My imagination is she went in the other room and was like, what a bunch of GD BS. This guy is such a just shit, you know. And she had to be like, okay, professionally, I either need to...
As long as his money's still green.
No, but I mean, professionally, if they're both in it and Mary's saying, you can't just be like, you are such a... You know what I mean? So, she needs 2 minutes. I think he just went to therapy to look good. And then she has all this stuff, and she did sneak in this line, which he didn't react to, so I don't think he fully heard it. Which is about control, and she goes, I've never seen you not get your way. And she kind of snuck it in, but it's like, just perfect, just chef's kiss perfection, because that's so true, and that's what I've said. That's what I say that I've said that because I have said that. You can go watch all the videos, but by no means am I the only person to make this.
The only person.
I'm the only person on earth to make this realization.
Wow.
To recognize it. No. But I mean, we've all seen it. I think you go through any of the videos we've done, or any other videos, or anyone's, then they've said this. He always gets his way, and then he manages to blame everyone else, like he's, all that. So this was a befuddling, and it took me. This recap is a mess. I apologize for that, but. Befuddling episode, because I feel like as recappers, we have spent 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, I don't know, however long we've been doing this.
Really depressed me now.
6 years, I think. We have been watching this show and making statements about how he feels and then our proof. He just did it in this therapy. He basically said he hates Mary. He regrets ever marrying her. He said that he feels that she deceived him into their marriage. He used the word deception. Deceived her into marriage. And it's like, if God had smited him in that moment, it would have been amazing. Because it's just like, oh, so you're now saying that, and it's like, it angers me because I go, the other wives are going to say, this is terrible. I'm not even attracted to you right now. No, because Christine's barely hanging on. Janelle's in good graces. Robin is now
sliding down the
list. Janelle has finally pulled up from behind. But let's remember, Janelle was married to Mary's brother when she met Cody and basically jumped ship. Anyway, I don't even know what to say. I guess we have one more week episode. I'm not looking forward to seeing a hurt baby. That just breaks my heart.
You heard it here first.
What?
You don't have anything to say.
Okay. And on that note,